Okay. Hello, everybody. Today is January 7th, 2021. This is the Ask Me Anything for the CrossFit Linchpin private track, the Facebook group. Members submit questions every Thursday, and the most popular upvoted ones get answered. So let's get right to it. First and foremost, the most upvoted question is from Frankie L. And so, two parts of it. One's not really fitness related, and one is. Number one, let's see. I've seen videos of you, meaning me, seen videos of me working out without a shirt and notice that I have a tattoo. What is it and how many tattoos do you have? Just one. I think it's on my left side. Yes, on my left side. Just one. It is large. It's large. It basically covers all of my left ribs and goes up onto like my left shoulder. It's capped. So, but as you can see right now, I had it so that if I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt, you don't know that I have a tattoo. Not that there's anything wrong, whatever is the disclaimer we have to say. Trust me, as being a former SEAL, I have plenty of friends who are head to toe covered in tattoos. But it's just not how I wanted to roll. I wanted to be able to wear a short sleeve shirt and not have any know, so I kept it that way. And it is basically, it's supposed to be the Grim Reaper on a horse, and he's got a sickle, as the Grim Reaper would, I assume, and there is a dove up the top trying to escape to heaven, and the Grim Reaper has taken a swipe at it, and there's a little trail of blood coming off the dove, but the dove lived and made its way to heaven. So it's supposed to be life winning out over death, if you will, but it being a darn close call. And with some of the stupid things that I've done over the course of my life, I just happy to still be here, blessed to still be here. For some reason, my time on Earth here is it's still going, so I'm happy about that. And so the tattoo kind of represents that. And we could go down a rabbit hole here, as with so many things. I'm now, if I had a time machine, would I go back and get it again? I don't know. Maybe not. I don't feel like it's mission critical that I have a tattoo. I think life would be just fine even if I didn't have that tattoo. So I got it. It's on me. It's good. It's cool. It's done by a fantastic artist out of Denver. And but I just don't know if I'd get it again. It's kind of one of those things. But yeah, just got one. And here we go. Okay, the second part of Frankie's question. What's the story behind your ripped hands from the 2009 regionals back in the day? It was actually the Mid-Atlantic qualifiers, what it was. I've heard it described as the worst ripping some have ever seen. What was the workout? That's funny. It there's a photo laying around of me. You can't see the actual tear on my palm, but all you can see is the blood coming out of it. You know what? I'll try to find that photo and post it on the private Facebook groups. You can just, I don't know, maybe you want to see bloody hands. I'll go ahead and show you what it was. The workout, it was the final workout from the 2009 Mid-Atlantic qualifier, which was the year that I went to the games. Took last place. The last position that could have earned a qualifying spot to go to the games out of the Mid-Atlantic qualifier, that's the spot that I earned. And it all came down to the last workout. I knew that I either had to sell out and hope for the best and squeak in there, or if I didn't make it, if I missed a qualifying spot, it was going to be just by the skin of my teeth and it was going to be close. So I figured I might as well lay it all out on the line. And the last workout was disgusting. Just a couplet that was programmed by Jeff Tincture, old school CrossFitter out of Fairfax, Virginia. Good dude, lifelong firefighter, owner of CrossFit Fairfax. And it was 21:15.9 reps for time. of a 95-pound for the guys, 65 pounds for the women, squat snatch. That's right, you heard me right. A 95 pounds on the bar for a squat snatch paired with a chest to bar pull-up. So 21-15-9, squat snatch at 95 pounds, and chest to bar pull-ups. What an awful, terrible, and other affiliates have programmed that workout since then. And I think some of them have even given it a name. But the first person I know that programmed that is Jeff Tincture from CrossFit Fairfax way back in 2009. And it is just a dirty, disgusting burner. Because the problem is, like many beautiful workouts, you know, if that squat snatch was 135, yeah, it's still a good workout, but it's entirely different. But at 95 pounds in a competitive setting, there's going to be a lot of people trying to hold on to that bar and just go for broke. And I was one of them that took that bar for a ride. And it stung like no other. And then you get up on the pull-up bar, and it was, again, 21-59 chest to bar pull-ups in between the pulling on the barbell and the pulling of the chest to bar pull-ups and everything else that we'd done that weekend. And I probably wasn't taking ideal care of my hands, etc., etc. I tore significantly. I can't remember on which palm it was. I think it might have been my left palm, significantly during the workout. I think maybe sometime in the round of 15 on the chest to bar pull-ups. And you know, hey, it was time to go, right? It was time to go hard. So whoop-de-doo, just grabbed the bar with bloody hands and grabbed the pull-up bar with bloody hands, finished the workout, and somehow snuck in and earned a qualifying spot there. What's funny, not that we need to go down a rabbit hole, but what's funny, there's a funny story relating to that. So this is back in 2009. These athletes are competing there, and you know, no one knows who anyone is back there. There's no big social media presence. There's no documentaries. You know, CrossFit's very much in its growing phase, and there's this guy who's kicking butt at these the Mid-Atlantic qualifier. This younger guy, didn't know who he was doing really well. And I was next to him in the final event, and the way that they had it set up was, it was a staggered start, okay? It was based upon where you were going into that event, but long story short, everyone was going to start a certain number of seconds based upon where they had finished previously behind somebody. And then it was just a race to the end, and the first 5 or 6 people, however many they were taking, let's say 5, you know, the first 5 that finished this 21-59 couplet, those were your 5 going to the games. So you could kind of look around and know, based upon where you are in the rep range and workout, if you're occupying one of those top 5 spots or not. And once that workout's done, it's done. Those 5 go forward. Everyone else, thanks for showing up, but you ain't going to the games. And so there was a guy in front of me, and I was like, all right, if I just beat this one guy who's in front of me, and he was starting, you know, a handful of seconds ahead of me. It's like, if I just catch him and beat this one guy, I'm for sure, I don't have to worry about anything else. I'm going to go to the game. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this guy down. So he takes off, you know, I don't know, whatever it is. I cannot remember for the life of me. 5, 10, 15, 20 seconds later, whatever it is, I launch. And I never saw that guy again. He was already in a league of his own, just greased lightning, just fast, period, end of story. And I tried to chase him. And that's probably why I almost died, because I was trying to chase somebody that was just a mutant of fitness, and I had no shot of ever catching, but I didn't know that. And so I'm chasing this guy, and chasing this rabbit probably pushed me to achieve a time that I wouldn't have gotten if I was chasing somebody else. Never caught the person, but in chasing this super fast human being, I actually beat somebody else and therefore earned myself a qualifying spot. That person, who I had no idea who they were, but I was trying for the life of me to beat, goes by the name of Ben Smith, who would later win the CrossFit Games. So that was one of the first times that I met Ben, was in 2009, when I mistakenly thought he was just another dude, and I tried to chase him down. But luckily, it paid off. So That's your little walk down CrossFit history for the day story right there. Ben Smith, just a solid dude. I got nothing bad to say about Ben Smith. Awesome, awesome, awesome human being. And if you're in the Chesapeake, Virginia area, you should pop into his gym. Say hello. Try to beat him in a workout. All right, next question that we have. We've got a couple back-to-back that were upvoted from Eric CM. He put out some good ones today. 2 of them are going to get answered, 2 out of 3. So the first one, here we go. It's regarding accessory work. Is the accessory work stimulus achieved if performed only after the workout? Can we do a workout in the morning and then accessory at night? Short answer, yes, you absolutely can. You can do whatever you want to do. How great is that? If you want to do the accessory work before the workout, you can do that. You want to do the accessory work after the workout, you can do that. You want to do, such as you described, workout in the morning, and then it fits into your schedule to do the accessory work later that night or in the evening, that's good to go too. It's shooter's choice. It's whatever fits with your life, your responsibilities, your schedule, etc., etc. I would say, if somebody was asking me for my ideal recommendation, I would say to do the workout first, and then if you have the time while you're still in the garage and you're choosing to do the accessory work, move around a bit, feel pretty good, and then when you feel ready for it, make your way through the accessory work. I don't like doing the accessory work first, just because the accessory work truly is optional. It's truly not required for you to be fit, and therefore, the main dish, the main course, the main thing you're going to get the goods from is the workout of the day. So if something is going to get you at your best, with your best effort, fresh and ready to attack, I would want it to be the workout of the day, not the accessory work. That would be my humble opinion in that, 9 times out of 10. But good question, Eric. Second one, also from Eric. People are loving Eric's questions today. And this is a good one, I have to admit. If I complete a scaled workout in the Super Fitness Robot time, is that an indicator that next time I should scale up so that my time is back to the more likely time? Okay, great question. So let's paint this with an example. We recently did Fran, right? So Fran is 21-15-9, thrusters and pull-ups. The pull-ups are kipping chin over bar. The thruster is prescribed with a barbell, a 95-pounder or a 65-pounder, 21-15-9. I don't remember what we put out as Super Fitness Robot times, but let's just say a Super Fitness Robot time was sub 5 minutes, okay? And a more likely time was 8. Can't remember what they are, those are just examples. And that's for the prescribed workout, okay? Super Fitness Robot's 5, more likely is 8. Now maybe the scaled option goes from a 95-pound thruster for the gentleman to a 75 or a 65-pound thruster. And maybe it has, instead of kipping chin over bar pull-ups, it has ring rows. And so now what Eric's asking is that he completed the scaled workout that day, and when the clock stopped, he had what would have been a Super Fitness Robot time for the prescribed workout. And is that an indicator that maybe he's ready to bump it up a little bit? There's some nuances that might, be involved in this answer, but a general answer would be, yeah, I think that's a pretty darn good indicator that, depending upon your capacity, maybe you bump the thruster weight up a little bit next time, or you, depending upon how many kipping pull-ups you have, you either, bump it up from ring rows to kipping pull-ups, or a mixture of them, right? Maybe you'll do the set of 21 when you're fresh in kipping pull-ups, and then if you reach some sort of point of failure or fatigue, you could do the round of 15 and 9 still as ring rows, right? So there could be a nice intermediary step there for somebody. But yes, Eric, I would say in general, if you're doing scaled workouts and you see yourself regularly hitting the Super Fitness Robot times, you're probably developing some nice capacity and have a baseline that you may want to consider stepping it up a little bit. And that isn't to say that you need to jump immediately right from scaled to fully prescribed. You might be able to find a middle weight that works really well, or like that example I gave, a middle option if there's a gymnastics component or something like that. But it would seem like you are well on your way. And that's great. Congratulations. That's exactly the point of scaling and why scaling is cool and effective. So good question. Next question here from Matt S. Also a very popular question, obviously. That's why we're answering it. Here we go. Whenever a workout includes a monostructural conditioning movement, which by the way would be running, rowing, biking, you always include options to substitute with other equipment or running. My question is, in this context, is all conditioning equal? Prior to CrossFit, I ran 40 plus miles a week for years and got pretty burnt out on it. I also had a knee surgery 2 years ago, and every now and then running sprints will cause my knee to flare up. I am fortunate enough to have a Concept 2 rower, an Echo bike, and an air runner. Wow, I am jealous of you. That is a wonderful component to have at your fingertips, and that is sweet. But I find more often than not, I will cherry pick an Echo bike substitution for any conditioning because that's what I enjoy the most. The reality is, my knee is mostly fine, and I have no real excuse not to run when it's programmed, aside from the fact that I no longer enjoy running. I always justify it by saying that I'm still achieving fitness, even if I'm biking or rowing, but was just curious as to how much of a disservice I'm doing to myself. Phenomenal question. Here's the simple answer. Well, you're not doing yourself a disservice, okay? I mean, you're working out, you're doing functional movement, you got your heart rate up, you're not sitting on the couch, life's great, you're already winning, okay? So that needs to be said. However, could you be winning a bit more? I think so. And the answer to that is based upon not only some things that you've said in your question, but just some classic CrossFit methodology, right? You know, developing our fitness being defined as work capacity across broad time and modal domains, the goal is we all have our comfort zone, right? And if you think about, there's a perimeter, there's a fence, there's a boundary around your comfort zone. And in that zone are the things that you like to do. And our goal is to slowly expand that perimeter, to push those boundaries out, increasing your capacity, increasing what you expose yourself to, and thereby increasing your fitness and your ready state, if you will. And so there's also another thing we used to say in CrossFit all the time, which is you fail at the margins of your experience. Meaning, when you start to get into that outside your comfort zone, if you're cherry picking some things regularly, and now I start to throw things at you that are outside of what you normally choose because you've been avoiding some things, even though you work out all the time, even though you have this high level of fitness, there may be some holes in your game that get exposed, and suddenly you're not quite looking as fit as you should because some things have been neglected. So even though you're doing conditioning, there are some parts of the conditioning puzzle that are being neglected. So your conditioning is not as well-rounded as it potentially could have been. But like I said, you're not sitting on the couch either. So life's good. We can just maybe make it a bit better. So yes, I do think there is some improvements that could be made. And you did mention that running doesn't really bother your knee, and you're just picking the Echo bike because you like it, which in and of itself is the sign of a crazy person. But the good kind of crazy. But if you can do these other things and you can do them pain-free, then I would very highly recommend that you start exposing yourself to them again, because variance is a wonderful thing, and it is a reason of why CrossFit does constantly varied functional moves at high intensity. That variance component is a big element of that, extending the margins of your experience, extending your capacity, and increasing your comfort zone to encompass even more things. And that's what we want to have happen. We want you to be this just cyborg of fitness that, whatever rolls your way, you're like, yeah, I can do that, and I'm pretty good at it. That's my Larry David impression for the day there. So yes, Steve, Matt, I would have you Matt Steve is his name. Anyone thinks I call him by the wrong name, Matt Steve. So yes, Matt, I would encourage you to do a bit of running. And are all conditioning pieces created equal? In my humble opinion, no. They all have value, that's for darn sure. They're fantastic. If they didn't, we wouldn't program them all, because we're not programming anything just for the sake of including it. We're programming things that are worthwhile and beneficial. So yes, all the programming pieces that you mentioned, running and rowing and biking, are all great in their own right. And it's tough to say is one better than another, but they all do things a bit different. You know, what's unique to running is obviously you're out getting some real locomotion that you're not getting on the other two pieces of equipment, and you have to fully support your body weight, and that's not a small deal. You're not sitting on something, there's no support structure. That's up to you and your skeletal system and your musculature. So that is something relatively unique to running compared to rowing and biking, and it's a big deal. And also there's a coordination, accuracy, agility, balance component, aka a neurological component, aka technique component, involved in running and running well. So that also makes running very unique. And if we're getting into just general life stuff, it's probably going to be what you need to do if the day comes that you have to use your fitness in any way, shape, or form, whether you're just sprinting around the bases, playing softball, running around with your kids, running from a bear, whatever you happen to be, it's probably going to be on foot, something like that. Most people are going to be like, there's a bear, hop in your boat and run and row away from him. Yeah, maybe, right? But most likely it's going to be on foot. So running is crucial, running is critical, and if you can do it pain-free, I would encourage you to start mixing it back in there. Rowing's fantastic. I mean, rowing, you're getting all the conditioning benefits as well, but you're also getting a really nice leg flexion and extension through a greater range of motion than most people get when running. And there's that great leg drive, which is going to require some good musculature to have a good powerful row stroke as well. You've got the hip opening, the hip closing, you've got midline stabilization, you're pulling with the arms. It is a really great total body deal, and I am a huge fan of the rower. It's a fantastic piece of kit, and that's also why we include it. And also that coordination, accuracy, agility, and balance component, rowing is a technique endeavor. If you want to row and row well, you will not do so without paying attention to technique. You can't just get on a rower and magically row well. You have to know the sequencing and what you're supposed to do. Biking, also fantastic. Great for delivering not just conditioning, but also just a unique pain that is in a world by itself. I mean, anyone who's done death by calories on one of the air bikes, or that workout that we have that it's 12 calories for men, 8 for women every 3 minutes, on the 3 minute for 30 minutes. I mean, you only need to do that once to understand what that piece of conditioning equipment can deliver to you. But in regards to the other two domains that we mentioned, be it running and rowing, the bike is certainly the most forgiving and has the least requirement for technique. I mean, the range of motion is relatively fixed. The sequencing is relatively fixed. You just have to go on there and move your arms and legs through the path that the pedals and arms force you to move, and that's how you pedal the bike. I mean, there could be some small nuances that make your life a little bit better on it, but it's not in the same world as far as technique is concerned if you compare it to running or rowing. So all of them is good. All of them are great. Each of them has their pros and cons, but if you can, I'd head out there and run. And the mere fact that you said you bike regularly because you enjoy it, we want to go ahead and get that variance piece out there as well. So solid question. Next one we have here, last one we'll hit is from Jeremy. It's regarding accessory work. Where is it here? Stand by, everybody. Stay with me. I've lost track of where the question is. Okay, here we go. Jeremy's question, which got nice upvotes as well. how do we go about choosing the accessory options? So this is not how it happens every day, but in general, each workout of the day, we have optional accessory work. Well, that's always true, but I was going to say we usually have two pieces in the accessory work. And so Jeremy's asking, how do we go about choosing it? So that leads me to believe he's thinking maybe can't do both, doesn't want to do both, maybe doesn't do the accessory work every day. And if you have to make that choice as to what to do, should you prioritize the accessory work in any way, shape, or form? First of all, let me always reiterate my stance on this. That is, the accessory work is optional. I say that in every video, right? The accessory work for the day, optional as always, is whatever it happens to be. And that is because you truly do not need to do accessory work to get fit. I know more people than I can count that don't do accessory work. They just try to eat well, they try to get enough sleep, they try to be a good human being on planet Earth, they get in a nice warm-up, they pour their heart and soul appropriately into the workout of the day, they cool down, they stretch, they go home, and that works like a champion. And that's probably all the overwhelming majority of people walking the planet need. But what a boring world this would be if we only did what we needed and not what we wanted every now and then. So some people want accessory work, and it is beneficial and wonderful, and it can be a great way to break through a plateau in a conditioning area of your life, a strength barbell-ish component or a gymnastics component, and we program all of that stuff. And it also is a really great fit for somebody that does want or crave just a little bit more volume, if you will, because the accessory work, for anybody who's done it, you know that it's not a joke, right? I mean, it's a serious component. And so if you're not ready for it, it might be too much, it might be overtrained. So if you're thinking about it, scale it, cut the reps in half, do it every other day, something like that. See how it treats your body, and then make an intelligent decision from there. Okay, getting back to Jeremy's question. This is just my personal opinion. I'll give you my personal opinion, and then I'll talk about maybe just generalities. So my personal opinion is, if I'm looking at the accessory work and I'm like, I'm not doing all this, tired today, don't have time, ain't gonna happen. How I prioritize things for me personally, if there is a midline component to the accessory work, I will choose that and prioritize it for me over anything else. So let's say the accessory work of the day is L-sits and Bulgarian split squats. I've only got time for one, I'm doing the L-sit. Even though the Bulgarian split squats are much sexier, and hey, look at my legs, they're getting big and strong and all that, and the L-sit is just not flashy, and quite frankly, it's boring and it's painful and it takes forever to see progress. But that doesn't mean that its benefits aren't through the roof. And I would lump most midline work in there. So if one of the components, be it planks, V-ups, windshield wipers, I don't care what it is, I put the midline work for me, that's what I'm going to go after first. The next thing that I would put in my personal list of priorities for if I'm making decisions on what's going to get done in the accessory work is lower body, legs, right? I mean, legs are just so critical to not just CrossFit, but life and sport and survivability and military. I mean, just legs, strong, stamina, conditioning, legs. We need legs that can do it all. And so I would say my number 2 on that is, if there's a lower body piece in there, that's going to get my attention as well. Going down the list next after that, I would probably say for me, there's when we put sprints in there, whether it's row, bike, run, whatever it happens to be, sprinting is so darn beneficial and just has such a response and a wonderful cascade of hormones that occur in your body, beneficial hormones, just like heavy lift days. Sprint days are right there as well. And so I would go with sprinting next. And then after that, we've got all the other great stuff that everybody loves, right? There's all your barbell work, strict pull-ups, gymnastics movements, handstand walking, carries, overhead, farmer's carries. I mean, all that good stuff is all in there. And how you would prioritize that, for me, after midline, lower body, sprinting, and then I kind of have all the other stuff that I would just put together. But each individual, my choices might be meaningless for you. Maybe if you're L-sit, you can just do the L-sit for days. So the heck with the midline. Your personal choice ideally would come from a good, honest, removal of the ego and a good, honest assessment of where you are as an athlete, not where you like, right? Because maybe you love barbell stuff and you do not like conditioning, and you do not like strict pull-ups, and you do not like L-sits. Maybe you're already strong as an ox, and so you see clean pulls or something, in the accessory work, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get some of those. You're already a beast in that area. Now, there's a component to working out and just doing stuff you like, because again, at least you're not sitting on the couch and you have to do stuff you like every now and then. Why just be miserable every day? But if you're looking to truly improve yourself as an athlete and truly push your boundaries out and your work capacity up, then you want to have that good, honest assessment of where you are and what are some of the potential weaker areas or deficiencies in your overall capacity. Is it conditioning? If so, what type of conditioning? Is it body weight gymnastics work? If so, what? It could be body weight pressing, like handstand push-ups or handstand walking. It could be body weight pull-ups, pulling, like pull-ups, etc., etc. It could be midline capacity, in your L-sit. Is it your barbell work that needs help? Is it your lower body? Whatever it happens to be, you could take an honest assessment of what are those areas in your fitness that you think would most benefit from a little bit of extra attention, and then you could, when you're making a choice with the accessory work, lean towards those things, and those would probably give the biggest payoff for you. So excellent question from Jeremy, and that's how I would do that. Okay, as always, one of my favorite parts here, I've got 5 or 6 cool screenshots that I took from the private Facebook group, and we'll just read through a couple of them here to close out. So the first one was from Rick H., a man that needs no introduction if you've been around the private track for a bit. Rick is a regular contributor, and his posters always make me smile. He seems very real, very authentic. So here's Rick. He says 3 years ago, he was having a cyst and torn labrum repaired. He'd been doing crazy workouts programmed at the affiliate that he was going to, waiting about 15 minutes and doing another workout that he'd seen on Instagram or something. Honestly, he says, it was Linchpin workouts most of the time that I was doing as extra. After this day, though, I made a commitment to myself that I wouldn't go through this again, most likely the surgeries I'm sure he's talking about there. I wouldn't go through this again by my own actions. I decided to rehab and go all in with the CrossFit Linchpin programming exclusively. No more killing myself with two-a-days. Here I am, 3 years later, still holding true to that commitment. Best decision I ever made for my fitness. I've also really enjoyed watching how much this community has grown over the past 3 years too. Thanks to all of you who helped make it great. Now if I could just be this committed to eating healthier. Rick always puts a little real life humor in there, and I appreciate it. And Rick, you've been very open, honest, and genuine and authentic with your with sharing your fitness journey, and that makes me very happy just to hear that that the community is benefiting exactly in the way that I hoped that it would. So Rick, I appreciate that, and I'm glad you're feeling better and things are moving in the right direction. This one's from Simon S. Hey Linchpinners, just wanted to quickly give this community yet another well-deserved shout out. At the beginning of December, I was a few days away from 3 weeks off and looking forward to a great Christmas with the wife and kids. Unfortunately, my boss had other ideas and I ended up being sent away to work. In the past, this would have meant that my diet and fitness would have gone out the window, but not for now. I've got Linchpin. I managed to bring a little bit of kit with me, and over the last 3 weeks, fitness was certainly achieved using the ever-accumulating Linchpin knowledge from the daily videos, along with some of the limited equipment option and the no equipment option sprinkled in on top of it. I may only post sporadically, but I'm always taking motivation and encouragement from this glorious Facebook group, and it really is the best group of people on social media. So very, very cool. Simon, I appreciate that, and I'm glad that even when life throws you a curveball, you found a way to make it happen, and you leverage the community. And that's what we're here for, right? Keep each other moving in the right direction. It is an awesome support group. Jennifer L., next one. Came home last night tired, so I decided to just go with the no equipment option. I mean, it was just air squats and planks, right? How hard could it be? Between the warm-up and that quote-unquote little workout, I was dripping with sweat and so energized that I added in the extra 200 double unders as accessory work. Fitness was definitely achieved. Sharing this as a reminder for those of you to keep the limited equipment option and the no equipment options in mind. Even if you have equipment, they are legit. No joke, right? Who's kidding who? I mean, most of the most challenging workouts out there catch you by surprise because they don't look that bad, or there's no barbell in it, or it's just a dumbbell, and suddenly, boom. Rosemary P. Here we go. This is just some good real life stuff. Basically, she says, I've always been really athletic, but in 2019, that wasn't a good year for me due to working a lot, not taking care of myself, and everything slid in the wrong direction. Past couple months were tough or so, but I did manage to get in workouts when I could, and then noticed my progress through 2020, and so she maintained her progress through 2020, had a solid year, and then noticed it the other day when skiing, knows how she would normally feel in the harder slopes, and she did not feel that way at all. Felt fantastic. And that is just, that's why we do it, right? Get out there and use your fitness. All right, 2 more. Amar. Oh, this is great. So basically all he's got is 1 kettlebell and a pull-up bar in his door. That's it for gear. And the other day when we had rope climbs and dumbbell squat cleans, he found a way to do it with just some strict pull-ups from that pull-up bar. And he basically did, with that 1 kettlebell, picture what you do med ball cleans. He kind of did that and shifted and pivoted his hands around that 1 kettlebell and did cleans with the kettlebell. So extremely creative, awesome way to make it happen, even in a limited situation. And finally, we'll end on this one because this one is so cool it almost like brought a tear to my eye. This is from Kate H. And she says, I did full burpees for the first time in over 2 years between pregnancy, postpartum, injuries, depression, etc. She had the box all set up to modify the burpees, but then thought maybe I could just try doing the full thing. No regrets. Thanks for programming burpees. I needed them, and you can't see it at home, but she posted a really cool photo of her giving a thumbs up and knocking out her first real burpee in over 2 years. So made me very happy. Love to see the kind of progress. It's why we do what we do. And that's it. Have a fantastic day. Enjoy the rest of your recovery day. I hope that you're taking it. And we'll be back at it tomorrow, right? Tomorrow's Friday. It's go time. So until then, have a good day.